The American Civil War, which raged from 1861 to 1865, stands as one of the most pivotal and transformative events in the history of the United States. This 4-year-long conflict between the northern states, collectively known as the Union, and the southern states, referred to as the Confederacy, emerged from a complex web of social, economic, and political factors. With roots deeply entangled in issues like slavery, sectionalism, and differing visions of America's future, the Civil War brought about profound changes in the nation. This comprehensive overview explores the causes, major events, key figures, and lasting impact of the American Civil War. Causes of the Civil War. Slavery. The most profound and contentious issue leading to the Civil War was slavery. The southern states heavily relied on enslaved labor for their agrarian economy, while the northern states had largely abolished slavery by the mid-19th century. This stark contrast in economic systems and moral values fueled deep-seated tensions. Economic differences. The North was undergoing rapid industrialization, while the South's economy remained primarily agrarian, relying on the production of cash crops like cotton and tobacco. This economic disparity created distinct regional interests. States' rights. Southerners often argued for states' rights, contending that individual states should have the authority to determine whether or not to allow slavery within their borders. They believed in a limited federal government. Territorial disputes. The debate over whether newly acquired territories should permit slavery or not, such as those gained from the Mexican-American War, further exacerbated tensions. Political polarization. Political parties and leaders became increasingly polarized along regional lines. Abraham Lincoln's election as a Republican president in 1860, who opposed the expansion of slavery into new territories, marked a turning point. Major events and battles. Fort Sumter, 1861. The Civil War began with the Confederate attack on Fort Sumter in South Carolina, a federal military installation. This act marked the initiation of hostilities between the North and South. Fort Sumter, situated in Charleston Harbor, South Carolina, is renowned for its role as the site of the opening shots of the American Civil War. This event in 1861 marked the beginning of a 4-year-long conflict that would reshape the United States. Fort Sumter was a federal military installation under Union control. It commanded the entrance to Charleston Harbor, making it a strategically significant position. By early 1861, several southern states had already seceded from the Union in response to the election of Abraham Lincoln as president, fearing that his administration would threaten their interests, particularly the institution of slavery. First Battle of Bull Run, 1861. Fought in Virginia, this was the first major land battle of the war. The First Battle of Bull Run, also known as the First Battle of Manassas, was a significant early engagement of the American Civil War. It took place on July 21, 1861, near Manassas, Virginia, and it was the first major land battle of the conflict. The battle's outcome had a profound impact on both the Union and Confederate war strategies and perceptions. It ended in a Confederate victory, revealing the Union's unpreparedness and setting the stage for a long and brutal conflict. Antietam, 1862. The Battle of Antietam, fought in Maryland, was one of the bloodiest battles in American history, with over 23,000 casualties. The Battle of Antietam, also known as the Battle of Sharpsburg, was a pivotal engagement during the American Civil War that took place on September 17, 1862, near Sharpsburg, Maryland. It was one of the deadliest battles in the war and had significant political and military implications. It ended in a tactical draw but was considered a Union strategic victory, as it prevented Confederate General Robert E. Lee's advance into the North. Emancipation Proclamation, 1863. President Lincoln issued this executive order, declaring that all slaves in Confederate territory were to be set free. It redefined the war's purpose, making the abolition of slavery a central goal. Gettysburg, 1863. This battle in Pennsylvania was a turning point in the war. The Battle of Gettysburg, fought from July 1 to 3, 1863, near the town of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, was one of the largest and most significant battles of the American Civil War. It is often considered a turning point in the conflict and had profound political, military, and social implications. Union forces repelled General Lee's Confederate Army, ending the South's attempt to invade the North. Sherman's March to the Sea, 1864. General William T. Sherman led a devastating campaign through Georgia, destroying infrastructure and demoralizing the Confederacy. Sherman's March to the Sea, also known as the Savannah Campaign, was a military campaign conducted by Union Major General William Tecumseh Sherman during the American Civil War. It took place from November 15 to December 21, 1864, and it was a devastating and strategically significant operation that targeted the heart of the Confederacy. Appomattox Courthouse, 1865. General Lee surrendered to General Ulysses S. Grant in Virginia, effectively ending the war. This event marked the beginning of the Confederacy's dissolution. If you haven't already, don't hesitate to subscribe to our channel to stay tuned for more historical topics. Aftermath and impact. Reconstruction, 1865 to 1877. The post-war period was marked by efforts to rebuild the South and integrate formerly enslaved individuals into American society. Reconstruction was fraught with political turmoil, violence, and the rise of organizations like the Ku Klux Klan. Abolition of slavery. The war led to the ratification of the 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution in 1865, which abolished slavery throughout the United States. National unity. The Civil War established the supremacy of the federal government over state governments and solidified the idea of the United States as a single, indivisible nation. Civil rights struggles. While the war ended slavery, the struggle for civil rights and equality for African Americans persisted for many decades, culminating in the civil rights movement of the 20th century. Loss of life. The American Civil War remains one of the deadliest conflicts in U.S. history, with an estimated 620,000 to 750,000 casualties. The American Civil War reshaped the United States fundamentally, resolving the issue of slavery while leaving deep scars and ongoing racial and regional tensions. It is a pivotal chapter in American history that continues to influence the nation's politics, society, and identity to this day. Key figures. Abraham Lincoln. As the 16th President of the United States, Lincoln led the Union through the Civil War, issued the Emancipation Proclamation, and delivered the Gettysburg Address. Jefferson Davis. He served as the President of the Confederate States of America and led the Southern states during the war. Robert E. Lee. A prominent Confederate general, Lee led the Army of Northern Virginia and became a symbol of the South's military leadership. Ulysses S. Grant. A Union general, Grant's leadership and strategy played a critical role in the Union's victory. He later became the 18th President of the United States. William T. Sherman. Known for his devastating March to the Sea, Sherman played a key role in weakening the Confederacy's infrastructure and will to fight. Frederick Douglass. An influential African-American abolitionist, writer, and speaker who advocated for the rights and freedoms of formerly enslaved individuals. Harriet Tubman. Known as the Moses of her people, Tubman was a conductor on the Underground Railroad and later a nurse and spy for the Union during the Civil War. Clara Barton. A pioneering nurse who provided critical medical care to wounded soldiers and later founded the American Red Cross. In summary, the American Civil War was a monumental struggle that pitted the northern and southern states against each other, with slavery at its core. It resulted in the abolition of slavery, reshaped the nation's government, and left a lasting legacy that continues to influence American society today. The war's impact extended far beyond the battlefield, shaping the course of the nation and the lives of its citizens for generations to come. Thank you for joining us in this deep and complex story of the American Civil War. This conflict between the North and the South, which lasted for 4 years, has left an indelible mark on the history of the United States and shaped the course of events in many aspects of society.